Yes.
And last juror, is that their verdict?
Yes.
Your Honor, all jurors answer affirmatively that the guilty of first degree is their verdict.
The verdict may be recorded. Please
Thank
be
you.
seated.
And there you have it. Following breaking news yet again, this just in, a verdict now reached regarding Mr. Brian Walsh, the man accused of not only killing but dismembering his wife, Anna Walsh. That verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. Sentencing now set for December 17th at 9 a.m. He faces life in prison without parole. That sentencing, yet again, 2 days from now, Wednesday morning. Joining us now to discuss this breaking news is Mr. Eric Faddis, attorney extraordinaire back here on the Live Zone. Eric, so a couple of things. First of all, we know the jury deliberated for 3 hours on Friday. The judge then dismissed the jury because they could not come up with a verdict. They then returned today, and it took another 3 hours before they decided to find Mr. Brian Walsh, yet again, guilty of first-degree murder. Your thoughts?
I mean, that is a relatively brief deliberation, especially for a multi-week first-degree murder trial. But that being said, defense did not have many outs, and they didn't put on any witnesses. And so the jury was kind of left with the prosecution's case and deciding whether it met that threshold. They decided promptly that it had.
Some of the interesting facts surrounding on this case happen to be that he did state that he did, let's say, remove her body, if you will. But he said, hey, I was not in any way, form, or fashion involved with regard to her murder. The jury saw it otherwise. Anything in particular stand out to you as to why they decided to find him guilty of first-degree murder?
Well, in that kind of a set of circumstances, you as defense, you want to give the jury some alternative explanation. Okay, if you didn't do this, what could possibly have happened? My understanding is they didn't call an expert witness to talk about this alleged sudden death explanation for the decedent. And on top of that, they just kind of ran out of outs. There was the motive there was the other circumstances, testimony from witnesses, all of which turned out to be damning for Brian Walsh.
So, Eric, you have done this time and time again, and that is oversee trials within the courtroom. Obviously, I am no lawyer to an extent, but I must say, observing this and throughout the past several days, watching the trial unfold, his behavior was somewhat coy. Did you see that as well? And if so, perhaps did that play any role at all with regard to why the jury decided to find him guilty?
Well, I saw similar observations. And look, the jury is going to be laser focused on that defendant and his demeanor. That might not be actual evidence. It might not be a statutory consideration for the jury, but they're human beings in there. They want to see how he's reacting to certain accusations, to different evidence that arises. And here, when he's smiling and sort of carrying on in a way that is inconsistent, perhaps, with someone who's been wrongly accused of murder, I think the jury probably considered that when deciding what the ultimate determination should be, and it was against Brian Walsh.
Yet again, Brian Walsh found guilty of first-degree murder, killing his wife, Anna Walsh. We should make mention that she happened to be a realtor based right here in the nation's capital. So we now know sentencing set for Wednesday morning. What happens? How will that play out? Because it's to my understanding as well, we will also hear testimony from witnesses. Is that correct?
We could, typically judges give the victim's family an opportunity to address the court, to say how this event has affected their lives. And so would not be surprised to have some witnesses come up and discuss that. That being said, I think the ultimate sentence is really going to be a foregone conclusion. I think it's going to be life without the possibility of parole. He has these additional aggravating factors of being deceptive with police and also sort of butchering up the body at the end. And so really things are looking rather grim for Brian Walsh.
So let me ask you, Eric, obviously we know that they had or shared 3 children altogether. Does that play a role with regard to the sentencing at all? Will the judge think about that, take that into consideration?
It wouldn't be unusual for the judge to hear from those family members, to talk about, hey, we had this family, we had this unit, and now all of that is gone. It's been completely destroyed by these acts of which Brian Walsh has now been convicted. And so certainly it could be considered by the judge, but I think the judge is probably going to be limited by the law in terms of what sentence he has to impose, which will likely be the maximum here, life without the possibility of parole.
Yet again, Brian Walsh found guilty of first-degree murder. Sentencing now set for December the 17th. That's this upcoming Wednesday. Of course, when that happens, we'll bring it to you live right here on Fox 5. Eric Faddis, criminal attorney, joining us right here on the Live Zone. We truly appreciate your time.
Good to be with you, Guy.
Well, Hanukkah celebrations around the world facing increased security measures after Sunday's shooting rampage in Australia. Witnesses say the gunman, who police identified as a father and son, started firing from a bridge, killing at least 15 and injuring 38 others. Australia says it will now tighten its gun laws in the wake of the tragedy at Bundy Beach. The country already has some of the toughest gun laws in the world. University of Maryland Rabbi Eli Bachman had this to say at last night's Menorah Light.
But we hope, we know, we pray that this light will continue and by week's end fill the entire menorah. As there's darkness in the world, it's our job to bring light.
Meanwhile, this is a look at a makeshift memorial in Sydney for the victims of that attack. Hundreds of mourners gathered to leave flowers, gifts, candles, and more to pay respects to those who were killed. Australian authorities have labeled the attack an act of terrorism. We'll get you the latest on the investigation as details continue to emerge. Here at home, the House Oversight Committee releasing a report detailing manipulation in D.C. crime data. The report suggested D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith used fear tactics to get MPD commanders to change stats to make them appear as if crime was reduced in the district. One example given was cases of assault with a deadly weapon, sometimes being categorized as the less serious endangerment with a firearm. Speaking exclusively to Fox 5 on the morning of her announced resignation, Chief Smith denied those accusations.
Some of the negative commentary that have come out about the police department, I think our members have really held their head high. They've been very professional. They've been steadfast and making sure that we stay focused on what the mayor's priority has been for this city, and that is to ensure that we continue to drive down crime.
Obviously, one of the big stories right here in the nation's capital. Meanwhile, we are gathering new details in the death of actor and director Rob Reiner. Multiple sources reporting that his son, Nick, now in custody on suspicion of homicide. Jail records show Nick Reiner was held on $4 million bail. He struggled with drug addiction as a teenager and worked on a film with his father about his experience. We'll have more on that developing story as well. At this hour, federal authorities now investigating after the arrests of 4 alleged members of an extremist group who are suspected of planning coordinated bombing attacks on New Year's Eve across Southern California. Joining us now to discuss that and so much more is Mr. Arif Halaby, political strategist and radio host back here on the Live Zone. Arif, it has been quite the busy day. Welcome, my friend. Arif, I want to make sure we got you. There we go. Press that button right there. Arif, let's start off with that. No worries. It's call it the Monday Gremlins. Let's start off with the big news of the hour. In this case, the arrest of the alleged members of that extremist group I just made mention of. They were planning a bombing attack on New Year's Eve in your neck of the woods. I'm making reference to California. Your thoughts on authorities being able to thwart that planned bombing?
Yeah, they had their headquarters or their base of operations in the Lucerne Valley, just over the hill of L.A. Very easy to get to. It's next to the 15 freeway that runs all the way from Las Vegas up to almost Canada, if you will, but straight through downtown Los Angeles. Very easy to get to. Interesting because we have been saying this on our show for years now, 3 years to be specific. Sarah Adams, one of the CIA targeters, has been saying this, and this is where we get a lot of our information and intelligence from, is people like her. And it was this. They expect very coordinated and large attacks throughout the United States this holiday season. The interesting part is when we break it up and when they are arrested, it's not as big news as when it happens. And so we're not going to always know how to prove a negative. And Guy, it's going to be scary. Just be careful, be vigilant. Don't let it completely change your holiday behavior. But we're not doing certain things this year because of that.
Yeah, yet again, if it's not one thing, it's another. In this case, I'm making reference to what took place on the campus of Brown University. Following this weekend's deadly mass shooting, officials at Brown say they recognize that learning, well, it's probably hard to do at this very point. So they have canceled all remaining exams, classes, papers, and projects for the fall semester. We also know that a man in his 30s was taken into custody at a Hampton Inn early Sunday morning. It's to my understanding that man has now been released. It was hours after 2 people were killed and 9 others were injured when a gunman opened fire in a first-floor classroom in the engineering building Saturday afternoon as students were preparing for finals. Yet again, just another heinous act, Arif.
You know, Guy, you see a couple of things occur with this. One of those is that the actual capture, if you will, of this person that turns out to not be the right one, but he did have a couple of firearms with him. They pulled some data. They looked at probably the firearms. They looked at his metadata, but they did track somebody, and we're hearing that based on their cell phone technology. So I don't know why they got this wrong, but it is part of the normal investigation. You constantly interview people, you might detain people. That's the normal process. As a retired Los Angeles police officer, there were plenty of times where we would detain somebody, find out their investigation went a different direction, and you immediately release them.
Let's move on to the Trump administration having until Friday to release the so-called Jeffrey Epstein files. That deadline, by the way, was set under the Epstein Files Transparency Act passed by Congress last month to make the public records of the late sex criminal who allegedly trafficked in underage girls. Epstein, who committed suicide in custody back in 2019, spent years brushing shoulders with many of the world's elite. Anything new here, Arif, that we can touch on with regard to Epstein?
Yeah, I think there's going to be certainly some redactions. I don't know how many, but we do know that with all intents and purposes, Ehud Barak, former prime minister of Israel, was a very close ally. I don't know if it was for official or unofficial reasons he was, but there's quite a bit of video and images of him coming in and out of Jeffrey Epstein's multi-million-dollar, the largest apartment in Manhattan ever owned by a single person is this man who was a failed math teacher. So where did he get his wealth? Why was he visiting with foreign governments? We're not sure. I'm sure a lot of that will be redacted. The other part that's interesting, look, they went after President Trump, right or wrong. It doesn't matter where you fit on that scale, but they went after him with everything, including some made up allegations on the whole Russia hoax. We know that wasn't true and kind of where that was coordinated. So my thought is, if there was any evidence tied to a sexual predator, which is still one of the most abhorrent things that someone can be in this country, if he had any real ties to that person beyond, political contributions or whatever it might have been, I think it would have been released under the last administration by far. So I think President Trump is probably protecting his friends. I've said this before, donors and people on both sides that are going to get caught up into this, and some rightfully so, like Larry Summers and Bill Gates, should step down and disappear from polite society.
Yet again, Arif Halaby, political strategist and Radio host, joining us right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Thanks to you for your commentary, my friend.
Thanks, Guy. Be well.
All right. Obviously, the other breaking story this hour, Brian Walsh, the man now convicted of killing and dismembering his wife, Anna Walsh, found guilty of first-degree murder. Officials now speaking outside of the courthouse where that verdict was rendered just minutes ago. Let's take a look.
I'm going to say one other thing, because somebody mentioned, it's not about winning or losing. It's about getting the right answer. And this was the right answer. And so we don't look at cases as a wins or losses. We look at getting justice for someone. So let's not lose sight of that fact.
Walsh pled guilty to 2 charges ahead of time, right when jury selection was about to start. Did that change the way you approached this case and your attorneys? Obviously, they had been looking at 3 different charges. Now it was 1 murder charge.
You can hear right from the
case was always going to be presented in the same way. The evidence was the evidence, and we wanted to make sure the jury had everything that they needed to make a determination. The change of plea was an interesting dynamic, but when it came down to it, we wanted to make sure the jury had all the facts.
Greg, what do you think it was? The online searches? Do you think it was the surveillance video? What do you think?
Or the emotional testimony to people?
I can't tell you. That would be a question for the jurors. We tried to give them all the information we had. We had it from multiple different factors, whether it be surveillance video, the text messages, the internet searches, but what we had was a very thorough investigation that gave the lawyers in this case an excellent chance to try and give the jury what they needed.
Were you surprised that he didn't testify, and what did you want to ask him on the stand?
I don't know if you don't have
enough time for that.
I think that's probably better not said.
But were you surprised that he didn't?
The judge was.
I think it's always up to the defendant to make that decision. I think it's the hardest decision the defendant can make. And so I'm sure he put a lot of thought into it. We were prepared that if he did testify, we had a number of questions we wanted to have answered, but we understand it's his right not to.
So the question?
Yeah, over the past couple of years, a lot has been made of your office and the handling of different cases. Do you hope what happened here today restores some of that perceived lack of faith the public has?
I don't know one loss of a high visibility case determines what happens in our office. We handle cases all the way from the bottom to the top, and we treat them all the same. There's no such thing as a single important case. This was a critical case, and you saw on display some of the smartest people and some of the toughest workers and investigators who have always been with me. So I think that you know, sometimes you don't like what a jury has to say, but that's our system of justice. You present the case to a jury, and you have to abide by, at least I do. I took a constitutional oath. So I would just say today, I clearly are much happier with the outcome today, and I'm very happy with the work that was done by the professionals who work both in law enforcement and the district attorney's office, and really I couldn't be happier. So
a lot has been made of you personally, obviously, over the last couple of years. We haven't really had a chance to hear from you. How have you been doing, and what does this say today?
Well, the good or bad news is, having been in our office for a number of years in politics, unlike my time on Beacon Hill, I get to speak out. But many of you know that now as a district attorney, that if I speak out, that I interfere with an individual's right to a fair trial, then that obviously weighs heavily upon me. So I am now free to speak today on this trial with some limitations, and so not hearing from me, obviously, then I don't want to tip the jury or tip the scales and let those cases go forward without putting your thumb on the scales of justice. And you know, I took the job to speak for victims, and we focus on victims, and that's what I'm going to continue to do through my tenure. So I just want to thank you all. I know this is, you know, a long period of time, and we have to come to the courthouse, and we do have some calls to make and try to reach out to some other family members and some other people. But thank you all, and hopefully it brings to a conclusion a very sad chapter in the history of Reiner's family.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yet again, the verdict read earlier. Brian Walsh, now found guilty of first-degree murder, killing his wife, Anna Walsh, a realtor based right here in the nation's capital. He was also accused of dismembering her body. Sentencing now set for December the 17th. That's this upcoming Wednesday at 9 a.m. We'll continue to follow this developing story throughout the afternoon right here on the Live Zone. Well, President Trump's mid-decade push in Republican states hit a roadblock in Indiana last week, and now Democrats, hoping to make up ground in blue states, are now seeing the same push back in Maryland. You see, a University of Maryland survey shows just 27% of those polled label redistricting a top priority. So the question remains, what will happen next? To discuss this, we welcome former Time Magazine senior reporter and professor at St. Peter's University, Mr. Alan Sanders, back here on the Live Zone. Mr. Sanders, always good to see you, my friend. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
So let's jump right into this. What do you think the results of the survey say overall?
Well, Guy, I think it's a little bit ambiguous, but I think as it concerns Maryland, what you're really talking about is a link to the everyday concerns of people and redistricting. And many people don't see that. The overriding concerns of people in Maryland and around the country is affordability, the economy, jobs, inflation. If you want to redistrict, particularly in a state like Maryland, where 7 out of the 8 districts are already Democratic, you have to make the case as to why eliminating the 9th district, the Republican district, that is, whether that will actually affect the affordability concerns of people. And I think probably the politicians in Maryland have not made that case sufficiently clear.
Can we expect other states, in essence, to really follow suits, and we'll see, let's say, the same type of reaction as well?
Well, it's entirely possible, but for each state, of course, there are particular concerns. So one may be the connection that people want to make between their individual situations, affordability and redistricting. I think that's probably the predominant concern in Maryland. But in other states, it might have to do with the political class. That is to say, many congressmen and congresswomen do not like redistricting because it introduces an element of uncertainty in their reelection. And so there's often quiet pushback from the representatives saying, don't redistrict because you may endanger my reelection. And so that may be the concern, perhaps in Indiana or in other states. So redistricting is really complicated. It's very technical. Voters have to understand why it's happening. And then, of course, the political class has to weigh in as to whether it's going to really benefit them. So that's why it's unclear how redistricting will move forward in states around the country.
What does this say about the popularity of Maryland Governor Wes Moore, who many state could possibly end up being a presidential candidate sometime in the very near future?
Well, it's certainly a little problem for him. That is to say, he's pushed hard for this, and voters are not really interested in it. It appears. So it's a setback, but I'm not sure it's a fatal setback because, again, redistricting is a pretty obscure thing for many people because they don't see the connection. So, a politician can push something that's not popular, understand that, and then move on to the issues that are more popular. So I'm not sure it's really going to hurt him significantly, but certainly at the moment it's something that he did not expect.
So does what happened in Indiana and what's currently happening in Maryland with regard to the survey mean that, well, the push for redistricting is really over?
Not really, because President Trump still is pushing for it no matter what. I mean, he always has been pushing for it since he announced it, and there's no indication that he's going to retreat. Democrats in many states want to push back to that with the possibility of redistricting in those states. So I think the issue will continue to simmer, but whether it is successful or not will be one on an individual state-by-state basis, and it will really depend on the political concerns of the representatives in that state and also the political interest of voters. So stay tuned. It's not clear what will happen, but I think the issue will simmer and continue to simmer during the coming year.
Stay tuned is something we all know oh so well. Yet again, we have been speaking with former Time Magazine senior reporter and professor at St. Peter's University, Mr. Alan Sanders, joining us on the Live Zone. Well, at least 15 people have been killed and 27 now hospitalized after a shooting at a beach in Australia. The very latest on this heinous act. Next, when we speak with Uvalde David, right here on the Live Zone. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, this afternoon, many are still trying to grasp the horrific incident that took place in Australia over the weekend. At least 15 people now dead, and many others remain hospitalized after a gunman opened fire on a crowd at Bondi Beach in Sydney. So what can be done to combat anti-Semitism? Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is award-winning journalist, actor, and advocate, Mr. Uvalde David, back here on the Live Zone. Mr. David, I wish I could say it's good to see you, but unfortunately the circumstances yet again truly troubling.
I wish I could say the same. I mean, I just spoke to you recently about the ever increasing anti Semitism that we're seeing around the world. This anti Semitic attack in Bondi Beach targeting Jews for being Jewish in a public space is something that is horrendous. And we're seeing anti Semitism happening around the world. We need more people to rise up, not just to condemn it, but to fight against it and to fight the source of it.
We know that both a father and son actually carried out the attack. The definition of what I would say happens to be pure evil. And to think that it took place on the cusp, if you will, of Hanukkah, yet again, it's truly troubling, and it's hard to think that this continues to happen day in and day out.
Hanukkah is a festival of lights. The symbolism of Hanukkah is to remind each of us that we are a light to illuminate the darkness. That is what the symbolism of the holiday is. And that's why you're seeing Jews around the world leaning into that, leaning into the spiritual philosophy and symbolism of this holiday. So even as we fight evil, we must lean towards that light. We must lean towards the positivity. But we're dealing with this true evil that is targeting Jews, rebranding it as anti-Israel or anti-Zionism, but the targets remain the same. The Jewish people. So the distinction collapses when Jews worldwide are threatened, harassed, or assaulted. And the fact that a father and son together openly went into public in Bondi Beach to murder as many people as possible. My friend Josh's cousin was murdered. My friend Tanya's brother was there with his family. He was a first responder helping people as they were bleeding out. Another friend of mine pushed her grandmother under a car to protect her from bullets being fired in the air. These are horrifying things that are happening to Jews. But we also see that anti-Semitism has been rampant and normalized in Australia, where synagogues have been firebombed, where Jewish day schools were vandalized. And you know what? We are seeing the same things here in the United States. In Washington, D.C., 2 Israeli embassy staffers were murdered outside of the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. Jewish day schools in the D.C. area have increased security. Synagogues across the D.C. area and across the country have police and increased security outside of them. We are not safe. And as long as Americans are staying too silent about this, they need to remember that what starts with the Jews doesn't end with the Jews.
We'll end with this, and that is the current status of lawmakers. And I'm not just making reference to lawmakers based right here in the nation's capital, but throughout the country, and for that matter, really throughout the world. Are you happy with the tone and or the approach that they are taking to combat anti-Semitism?
No, I'm not pleased with the tone that is used to combat anti-Semitism, because we need to be honest. Islamist extremism is a global driver of anti-Semitic violence. We need to be able to speak about where the anti-Semitism is coming from. Ignoring or excusing this reality doesn't protect Muslims or Jews, it empowers radicals. There is no political, moral, or social justification for anti-Semitic hatred, and people need to be able to speak about it. What we even heard from, Australian leaders is they were conflating anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. It is not just to all lives matter any group of people when they're being targeted. We need to speak about what is happening, why it's happening, and how to combat it.
Yet again, Mr. Yuval David, award-winning journalist, actor, and advocate, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I truly appreciate your time.
I appreciate yours. Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. On the flip side of the break, yet again, breaking news. Brian Walshe now found guilty of first-degree murder. And we're talking Commanders back in a major way. Yes, the win column. That and so much more coming up next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. It is now the bottom of the hour, 12:30 to be exact, and still following this breaking news where Brian Walsh, the man accused of killing and dismembering his wife, Anna Walsh, who happened to be a realtor based right here in the nation's capital, now found guilty of first-degree murder. Sentencing now set for December the 17th at 9 a.m. That's this Wednesday. He faces life in prison without parole. We'll have more on this developing story throughout the day right here on the Live Zone. Switching gears to football, well, if you happen to be a Commanders fan, you are probably smiling from ear to ear right now. Why? Because for the first time in a long time, the Commanders were victorious. Yes, they beat the New York Giants, 29-21 the final score. And joining us to celebrate, our guy is back, Tailgate Ted, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Hello, my friend. It's a glorious Monday.
Happy Victory Monday, Guy. It's been a long time, man. How you doing?
I'm good. It's funny. You stated it's been a long time. What, 8 weeks, right? 8 weeks since the Commanders put up a big W on that chalkboard.
70 days, but who's counting?
So let's break down the game, Tailgate Ted. I mean, obviously, I got to be honest. You know, when I first saw that, we're going to take on the Giants, we'll get that victory. But then, yet again, 8 weeks in a row, the Commanders, let's just say, haven't won a game. And so you can't take anything for granted. And ultimately, it was a challenge, was it not?
It definitely was. And I had some victory steaks that I bought for the Vikings game that I stuck in the freezer after they got blown out. And after that first half, I was thinking I need to start defrosting these things because we might actually win this game. But the team was trying to find a way to lose instead of find a way to win in that second half. And 4 fumbles, thank goodness they didn't lose all 4 of them. But 4 fumbles, they definitely didn't make it easy on themselves.
Yeah. Well, so, okay, we got the fumble part, but then we also have the good stuff. In this case, I'm talking about Terry McLaurin. He showed up in a major way, got a touchdown, Tailgate Ted.
Terry did, right? And Terry opened it up for that running attack. It allowed the defenses to really, they didn't just account for him. They couldn't just stack the box against Bill. And you could see what this offense was supposed to look like once you actually have all of its weapons, minus Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. So, you know what I got to ask? What happens now? And what do I mean by that? Obviously, we know that the Commanders are going to take on the Eagles this upcoming Saturday, by the way. So, folks, that if they haven't already marked it on the calendar, it's not Sunday. It's going to take place Saturday. What do you expect to happen there? And yet again, the big question, Jaden Daniels, if healthy, should he, will he come back?
So I'll answer your last question first. If he's healthy, he should come back, in my opinion. The young man needs reps. And I know it's not a popular opinion after Patrick Mahomes just went out, after Micah Parsons just went out. But if anything, some people are starting to wonder, was last season the outlier with him? And he has not played a ton of games just in his short NFL career. He needs experience. And in my opinion, you cannot get that experience sitting with a VR headset or sitting in practice or sitting in training camp. The only way you're going to get that experience is going against another team that is getting paid to put you on your butt. So if he is healthy, and that's the big question, if he is healthy, he should play against the Eagles this Saturday. What's next? We've got 3 games against division opponents. And how they actually match up against these division opponents is really going to be telling on what they need to do this offseason, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you a number of folks running around the news station here, myself included, and I know you're probably going to combat me on this, but what about tanking the rest of the game so perhaps we can get a great draft pick, Tailgate Ted? Is that the way to go?
No offense to anyone thinking that, and especially you, Guy, but to me, tanking is loser talk, right? You tank to get that quarterback. We have that quarterback. Now we need a defensive end, a wide receiver. This team has a lot of holes. And to say, I want to lose just so we can get that, to me, isn't going to make that big a difference for those positions. If we needed that quarterback, and I was one of those fans in New Jersey back in 2024, before we drafted Jaden, that wanted to lose against the Jets because Jaden was generational. But now to do that in this instance, when you already have found that franchise quarterback, to me, does not make a lot of sense. And guess what? You've got a lot of players that have a lot to play for because they've got 1-year deals and they've got a lot of things that they need to put up with in regards to tape for potentially to be on this roster or another roster. So I just don't think tanking is a realistic approach in the NFL. Maybe in the NBA, but not in the NFL.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, they say time and time again that you see the true character of a man and or woman when they face adversity, when they're dealing with tough times. And so with that being said, are you happy with the coaching staff of the Commanders? Obviously, last year, a completely different story. We're all singing rah, rah, hail to the Commanders. But this year, it's been challenging, to say the least.
It definitely has been challenging. Cliff Kingsbury and some of his offensive play calling has really dumbfounded me and a lot of those out there that watch these games day in and day out. I mean, to call three pass plays in a row against the Vikings when you're on the 2-yard line, but then this week we only threw the ball 19 times. Right? So are you a running team or are you a passing team? They don't really seem to know their identity. And Dan Quinn, I don't feel, has held his coaches accountable. I think it took way too long to let Joe Witt step down from his play calling. Once that actually happened, the defense started turning around. So Dan Quinn is a player's coach. He has not lost this locker room, but there are some that are questioning him as a leader in regards to, can he actually govern his lieutenants? And I do have faith in him. I do think that he can turn this around. But who are those lieutenants going to be next season with Joe Witt being out most likely? And is Kingsbury going to be back? He's going to have offers from some other teams.
Yeah. Tailgate Ted, I know you're a stat guy, and so it's funny, I was speaking with my producer Joey, earlier today, who brought up this stat.
All right, so this is the first day since, well, I guess yesterday was the first day since November 20th, 2022, that the Wizards and the Commanders won on the same day, and they have both reached 4 wins, which for neither team is great at this time of year. But my question to you, you talked a little bit about the draft. What is the biggest hole in this team right now? My dad thinks it's the D-line. I think it's wide receiver too. I'd like to get your take on this.
I'm going to have to go with your dad. They need a defensive pass rusher. The team tried against the Vikings to only rush 4 and play zone on the back end, and the problem was they couldn't get home. You've got some aging veterans like a Von Miller. It's great to see him out there, but he's not getting home consistently. And without that defensive pass rusher, you just are seeing what this team lacks from that perspective. With Terry out there, he can really open it up for other players like a Debo, like a Jalen Lane, like a Burks, but you don't have any other guys on that defensive line that are able to open it up for each other to help pass rush get there.
Yeah, I got to tell you, so I can tell you this, Tailgate Ted, as soon as this show ends, producer Joey's going to get a call from Dad say, you know what, I told you so.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Why? Because Tailgate Ted said so. All right, well, we'll have to leave it there. Yet again, the Commanders taking on the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming Saturday at Northwest Stadium. Are you going? And I guess that's a dumb question. You'll be there.
I'm going to be there, Guy. I'll be there this Saturday. I'll be there on Christmas Day. Not sure how many of us will be there Christmas Day, but I'll definitely be out there with the Burgundy and Gold family celebrating the holidays.
Absolutely. By the way, love the sweater. Tailgate Ted joining us right here on the Live Zone. We truly appreciate your time. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, Annie Mae joins us to talk about dogs, pets, cats, you name it, and relationships. Our Monday Talkers up next right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back on the Fox 5 Live Zone. It's so funny. I almost forgot what show I'm doing when I just started it off. Annie Mae joining us for our Monday time. We do so many shows around here. Right? I don't know if it's a DMV zone, live zone, zone out, or whatever.
Zone.
But I am zoned in with Annie Mae, and we are all zoning on the celebratory fact that, yes, she is celebrating 2 years right here at Fox 5. You posted that picture right there in the middle on Instagram yesterday. Happy 2-year anniversary, Annie Mae.
Oh my gosh, thanks. Should we throw a party? Should we throw a banger? I'll just be like, hey, party for me, and I'll send out a little invite, and I'll tape it to each door, and I'll be like, party for me, 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes. Bring, I don't know, what should I say we bring? Cantaloupe.
Yeah.
Cantaloupe, bring fruit.
Bring fruit.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm more of a strawberry type of guy, but hey, I'll take whatever you bring.
Fruit, bring strawberry.
I remember, it's so funny because when I saw this post, I sat there and thought for a second, hey, I remember the first time we met.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember? We were in the green room because we were both doing Like It or Not.
Yes, we did meet in the green room. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure we met the night that I ended up for the first time doing Like It or Not in the evening. Yeah.
And it was funny because I'm like, hey, I've seen you before. She's like, yeah, well, I haven't seen you. I'm like, you're the young lady I always see doing the cap stuff, but and obviously our
and we've been friends
friendship
ever
has
since.
flourished ever since.
We've been friends ever since.
I had got the bestie status last
bestie
week.
status.
All right, let's talk about some of the things you, my friends, are discussing at home. In this case, a new study has found that having a pet during social interactions, especially with a romantic partner, makes people happier. According to the data, well, it found that a pet increases visible signs of positive emotions like smiling and laughing. And when it comes to romantic relationships, the effects reportedly lasts longer. Researchers say the findings can encourage people to spend more time together, now knowing that, well, it all surrounds their pet. What say you, Annie Mae?
What? So it's basically saying that people that, are in a relationship or something are happier when a pet's around?
Yeah, and I kind of agree with it a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it depends if you're an animal person, right? I think that really depends. This day and age, I think everybody just assumes that everyone is an animal person, a cat person, a dog person. I, for one, I love pets. I love animals. When I give them a nice little pet, I get to hold them, and then I return to owner.
Yeah, kind of like kids, right?
I don't necessarily want one myself, but I do love animals. Like, I like the joy I think that they bring you temporarily. I don't want the responsibility of it. So I think that's where I'm like, if it's here for me for like 2 seconds, like every time we have a segment, I go on Good Day, I'm like, oh, I hold my little dog, and I'm like, oh, and it's okay, and then I'm like, return to owner.
Return
to owner. That's me.
I dated a young lady, and she had a dog, and I think it's so true because we would obviously have to walk the dog, and so we would take a walk together.
And it made you do things.
And I would not have done that, had we, she not owned a dog, and so I get it, and I think as a result, I too ended up, falling in love with the dog.
Yeah.
So it just brings people closer together, I think.
I think it depends on the animal too, right? Because there are good dogs, well-behaved dogs, and then there are not dogs that are literally not like that. Cats the same way. So I think it really depends on the also breed. I think the breed matters because I have 2 absolutely bonkers, crazy dogs. My parents' dog's crazy. But then my boyfriend's dog is like adorable and small and cute and just like, around adorable.
Yeah.
So I think it depends. And I love them all, but not equally.
Yeah.
Not equally.
One thing's for sure, we love you for watching.
Yes.
Let's move on to this. Actor George Clooney no longer sharing on-screen kisses with co-stars. Say it isn't so for the ladies. Clooney revealed in an interview with Daily Mail Friday that he will no longer be kissing girls on screen after talking to his wife. The 64-year-old has starred in a number of romantic movies throughout his career. It's funny, I just watched his latest movie. You know what? No, he doesn't kiss in his latest movie. I saw it about a week ago. So, I mean, he's a heartthrob for all the ladies. What are you thinking?
I just don't understand why now. Like, why now? You're what, 60-something?
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? Now I'm going to decide not to make out with anybody else. Like, I don't know. It depends what kind of movie. If you're doing a rom-com, you literally have to kiss.
Yeah,
like, you
of
do.
Course,
like, you do. I don't necessarily think in, like, super crazy, like, action movies you necessarily have to. I think it depends on the movie, but I just don't understand why now. You've been married this whole entire time to your wife, and now you're deciding to do this. I've seen people who have done it from the very beginning,
sure.
and that makes a little bit more sense to me, but I just don't understand now why you're like, I'm now drawing the line. Like,
It's so funny in his list movie, he discusses that. Well, the actor that he plays an actor in a movie. And they talk about how in the movie how you know what, no more on-screen kisses. And so now to actually see this, that it has come to fruition to real life, it's really interesting. I also think he's in a position now where he can pick and choose any role he wants. I mean, he's the man, and so he's like, you know what, I'm not going to lose any money if I don't do a film, a rom-com.
I think I understand that a little bit. In the beginning, it might be like, you know, pay to play. Like you gotta do what you're supposed to do if that's your first big movie or something like that. It's like you don't exactly tell the director, no, I'm not gonna do this. Like that's not exactly how it works for your first movie. So I understand that you're in a position now to kind of make those decisions and do what you want to do and what you don't want to do. But to me, it just seems like, I don't know, 30 years too late. Like what? It's just random.
Well, to you, he's a grandpa. But to so many others, he's still the man.
Yeah.
Speaking of the man, producer Joey.
This is my first movie, guys. I'm really happy to be sharing this with you. Anyway, Merriam-Webster's word of the year is slop. It used to be something you give to piggies, eat up little piggies, but now it refers to AI-generated content like this. Here we have Tung 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 Sahur and Ballerina Cappuccino and their son, apparently. But it's not like human animated. This was automatically generated. It's a word that has dominated media this year, and we even have, I mean, look at this, watching AI slop until our brains melt. I think that's a bit extreme, but it's definitely had a presence on things like Instagram Reels. Have you guys seen any AI slop?
I have seen AI slop, but I never would have named it that.
Yeah.
Like I've seen horrible like AI stuff, and I'm sure you have.
Yeah,
just
but of
like
course.
where you can just almost tell that it is AI generated different things, but I've literally never heard it called that. So I can't imagine why it's the word of the year.
Isn't it kind of like the whole 6-7 thing?
At least that's human slop.
Oh.
That is human
I love
slop.
some human slop.
That is human slop. I'm done with that. I'm done with it.
Really?
It's annoying. I was done with it from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I'm not a kid. When I was in middle school, I did like silly little things and said silly little things, but I'm like, okay, I think when adults get a hold of something that was for kids, then it's over.
It's no longer
It's
cool.
over. Like if I know what it is, it's not cool anymore.
Yeah. Well, but not only that, but this is the first time for me that word, it's slop. Am I getting it right?
Slop.
Okay, so I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of
and
that.
so how could it be the word of the year? We're in media. I mean, it's not, even though we're not cool, or I'm not cool, like all the way.
No, you're cool.
Okay, thank you. I know. Try to be modest. But even though, like, I don't know everything, I should know the word of the year. I heard it mentioned at least one time.
Yeah. No, you guys are in trouble if I've never heard of it. Like, if Joey and I haven't heard of it, Joey's heard of it. But if people our age have not heard of it, y'all are in trouble.
Well, you got to consider yourselves lucky that you don't know AI slop. That's all I'm going to say. It's bad.
We're good to go.
Yeah.
Seems like.
No slop here. Talking about producer Joey.
No slop.
Annie Mae.
It's
yours
live
truly.
zone. No slop.
We call this our Monday Talkers right here on the LZ. Thank you, Annie Mae. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Hey, if you're a fan of Top Gun, remember that line, producer Joey? I have a need.
What kind of need do you have?
A need for speed. Woo!
Boom, Top Gun.
In this case, we're talking about speed coming from a Ferrari. Yes, they don't often show up at auctions. However, when they do, they have a ripple effect. And in this case, we're talking about a 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO. It will cross the auction block in 2026. Now, what makes this special is the color. This is the only 250 GTO ever finished in factory white. Joining us now to discuss is Kurt Hopkins, CEO of the MCQmarkets.com, back here on the Live Zone. Kurt, always good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Awesome to be here, and great to be speaking about speed, as usual.
So I absolutely love this. I wish I could say I own a Ferrari. I don't. I'm working on it. But this is a special Ferrari, and you heard me make mention of the color, but I'm hoping you can expand on it.
Oh yeah, this is one of the Halo cars from Ferrari. It's an absolutely amazing car. It's a 250 GTO, and it's the only one, as you said, produced in white. But the interesting thing about this is it's been painted, I think, 3 times. So they went from white to red to black, and now it's back in white again. And it's coming up for auction later on in January, and it's going to be very exciting to see how this thing comes out, because it's actually been in 2 crashes. Really? So it'll be really interesting to see how it gets valued. When it was last sold, it was sold, I believe, for about $6 million. We expect for it to go a lot higher than that. But because of the accidents, because of the not having its original paint, it might not quite be the highest car ever, but it'll certainly be, probably 8 to 10 times what it was back when it was last up in 1998.
Wow. I'm looking at my notes here, and I see the car was actually driven by a number of prominent drivers, if you will. I'm talking about Graham Hill, yes. And it's what really makes it the holy grail for collectors. So yeah, I know you made mention of the crashes, but hey, if I thought somebody happened to be cool because they were a driver and they drove that car, I would still want it.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's been raced as well, which is phenomenal. It had an accident. Its first accident back in 1963, I believe, in a race. So it's got great provenance. It's had amazing drivers. Obviously, it's a beautiful car. It's one of one. It's the only 1962 or any 250 GTO coming out, and these things are worth many, many tens of millions. And we expect this thing to go for a low price of around 50 to 60 million. Wow. But it could go for a lot more if you get 2 bidders in the room that are really going for it. So it'll be one to watch later in January in the big auction in Kissimmee, Florida.
Wow, this is just so cool. Kurt, I got to ask, and obviously you are well versed in all of this, and so when someone purchases a car like that, do you just purchase it and let it sit? You put it right there in the garage, perhaps put a couple of spotlights on it, or do you actually drive this thing around?
Well, to each his own, but in the U.S., typically, when these things get higher value, people do drive them. Now, that being said, in London, I heard of a guy that's got a 250 GTO that drives us around on a Saturday in London city traffic, because the Brits, for example, love to drive their cars. But typically in the U.S., if they're worth a lot, keeping the mileage low is really, really key. But obviously, this car's been driven, so it's unique. It's going to retain its value. But what you don't want to do is get any more crashes. But certainly, Ferrari loves it. They've given their red book, certified classique on it. So it's a beautiful car. Putting a few more miles is not going to kill it. But and you want to keep them running, obviously. But you obviously, if you're going to invest that much money, you probably want to preserve value too.
Yeah, wow. Yet again, it is truly one of a kind. I'm making reference of the Ferrari 250 GTO. Do we have the exact date of the auction? I want to put it on my calendar just in case
I believe it's that last or the 3rd week in January. So please do that, and of course you can keep up with it on our website as well at mcqmarkets.com.
Absolutely love it. Yet again, we have been speaking with the CEO of MCQmarkets.com, Mr. Kurt Hopkins, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I always enjoy these segments, Kurt. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Yeah, so do I. Take care.
We're going to take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, it's the top story of the hour. Brian Walsh, convicted, found guilty of first-degree murder. We'll chat about that. And Celebrity Dish. Well, you can bring it up again, producer Joey. We're talking about SZA. Yeah, that one right there. Apparently, she's upset with AI in music videos. We'll discuss that with Life with Lindsay coming up next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. It is now 2 minutes before the top of the hour. Yet again, a story we have been following all afternoon long. The jury now reaching a verdict with regard to Brian Walsh, the murder trial at that, found guilty of first-degree murder. He was accused of killing and dismembering his wife, Anna Walsh. She happened to be a realtor based right here in the nation's capital. Sentencing now set for December 17th. That's this upcoming Wednesday at 9 a.m. Obviously, when that happens, we'll bring it to you live right here on Fox 5. Well, time now to do a little celebrity edition as we do each and every Monday. Hey, look who's back. Joining us, Life with Lindsay, back here on the LZ to do just that. Hey, Lindsay, always good to see you. Happy Monday. Uh-oh, Lindsay, press that little mute button. It happens sometimes. Did we get it? Okay, I think we have it. Did we got it? Right there. I know, we're still working it out, and there we go. How about now? Can you hear me, Lindsay? Oh, shoot. Okay, we'll call it the Monday Gremlins. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take a 2-minute break. Come on back, because I think you're going to want to hear about this. I'm talking about SZA with all things AI. Apparently, a number of folks, including SZA, up in arms because, well, she's saying that it's taking over the music industry. We'll chat about that and so much more when we get the Gremlins away. Life with Lindsay, next, right here on the Live Zone.
Hold on, let me.
All right, folks, just like that, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. So nice we had to do it twice. In this case, I'm making reference to bringing back Life with Lindsay. There we go. I can hear you now, my friend.
Yes, it's so good to see you. Happy Monday. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'll just blame it on Monday.
I'm with you on that one. Hey, Lindsay, can we start over? Can we just go back to Sunday and do it all over again?
Hey, I'm here for that. I'm here for that, especially the football that happened yesterday, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you happen to be a Tennessee Titans fan. Obviously, Commanders fans here, we're smiling from ear to ear for the first time in a long time. Hey, let's talk about a little celebrity action, shall we? In this case, we'll start off with businesswoman Fawn Weaver, who's speaking out after a viral incident has her receiving some backlash. Now, this is really interesting to me, Lindsay. The co-founder of the black-owned whiskey brand Uncle Nearest was at a recent book signing when a man came up to her asking if she remembered him from nearly 30 years ago. You're taking a look at it now. Now, Weaver's reaction sparked controversy on the internet, with some calling for her to step down. Apparently, the man all up in her space and kept on saying, hey, do you remember me? Hey, do you remember me from the 6th, from the 7th, from the 8th grade? Weaver responded she did not, and then asked the crowd would they remember someone from that long ago. She did apologize to that man, who actually found the incident to be very funny. What are you thinking about that, Lindsay?
Well, there's a couple things I think about this because one, when you're in the spotlight like that, and she's had a lot of controversy because of like the brand going in debt or something. I don't know all the details on that. But also, the guy's not upset. So I don't know why anybody would think that's controversy because he thought it was funny. Maybe she could have handled it a little bit different, but I think that she has just like a lot of pressure on her. And I think that's why she reacted the way she did.
Yeah. So I could tell you, Lindsay, that, I mean, I'm nowhere near fame-wise or anything close to that, but I have been out and about, and folks have walked up to me and said, hey, I've seen you on Fox 5. Do you remember me? What do you think I say? No.
Like, no.
And so with that being said, I mean, hey, I get it. And it's not, I don't think she's being mean or, let's say, discounting who he happens to be in any way, form, or fashion. But how are you supposed to remember someone from the 6th or 7th or 8th grade, Lindsay?
Yeah, I barely remember people from 2 weeks ago, so I get it. I just think that she was just like, oh my God, get out of my space. But when she like asked the crowd, then you're like, okay, you're teasing him a little bit. But I mean, yeah, I think it wasn't that big of a deal, especially if the guy wasn't offended, right?
Yeah. All right. So the question is, will you remember me 2 weeks from now?
Oh, absolutely. We love you, Guy. We meaning us, me, and the audience.
Oh, well, good stuff. Let's move on to SZA, who's weighing in on the growing debate around artificial intelligence in music. Now, the singer threw some, let's say, shade after taking to Instagram to share a repost that read, if you need AI to make music, you're not a musician, you're a technician. This isn't the first time the star has spoken out against AI. She previously condemned fans for using the technology to recreate her voice and criticized reports of an AI artist securing a multi-million-dollar record deal. What do you think about this?
I'm Team SZA all the way. I'm like, thank you. Somebody had to say it. I believe her 100%, especially like in our industry, in the entertainment industry. AI can be a threat to taking over jobs. And I just think that creative industries really should be all human based. Now, ChatGPT 2025, a lot of people use it maybe to schedule Instagram posts or whatever they're doing, fine. But she's just saying if you're going to create music, you're essentially a technician, meaning a producer. I don't disagree with that statement, and I don't think AI artists should be getting multi-million-dollar deals. This is my opinion. I'm just happy SZA says it.
Yeah, so it's so funny that you brought that up. I'm with you on that as well. I mean, I think she is exactly right. I mean, to the mere fact that artists are now being challenged with something that's not even real. And okay, I know it's AI and whatever you say, but the mere fact that, they're coming in there and then they're having songs and the songs are combating the artists, which by the way, that's how they make their money. I agree with her. Right. You're not a musician, you're a technician. And you know what? I want to commend her for standing up for that because, Lindsay, to your point, this could affect our industry as well. I mean, there's no one that could ever replace Life with Lindsay on the radio, but though there's going to be someone that will try.
Yeah, 100%. And you're correct. And even like there's been producers coming out there signing AI artists and condoning like jump on the bandwagon. And I can't do it, me personally, because as a creative person myself, that is what comes to the relatability to the audience is your creative perspective on life. And so, yes, I am Team SZA, and I'm glad she stood up and said it because a lot of people really haven't been saying anything. Maybe they don't want to get involved in the debate. And 100%, there's no one that's going to replace Guy telling us all the celeb dish either. So we can't have that.
You're too funny. So we'll end with this, and I think you're going to be somewhat a little upset with me, and that is, up until this point, Lindsay, this very minute, I've never been a fan of Taylor Swift. It's just not really my thing. I knew it. I stand corrected.
I'm not upset at all.
I am now a Swiftie, and let me tell you why. Well, actually, just take a look.
Okay.
All this just to say things. Love, Taylor.
How cool is that? You saw it right there. Taylor Swift giving away $197 million to her, well, let's say crew and everyone that really helped her out during that tour. I mean, Lindsay, I watched the video in its entirety, and I'm talking about the truck drivers, the caterers, those who would pick up trash following her concert. She wrote them a check. And the amount, to my understanding, I believe the lowest amount happened to be to the tune of perhaps $100,000. Can you imagine that?
I cannot, because I have to give it to her. That's really amazing. And honestly, the fact that she did that, I can understand why you're being a Swiftie, because $100,000 as a bonus, we're not talking as a salary. This is as a bonus. I mean, that's truly amazing. And I want to be a hater so bad because it's Taylor Swift, but I just can't be, because this is awesome.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? It's funny. We talked about this on Good Day DC earlier as well. I wonder if other artists will take note. And I'm thinking about one particular artist in mind that I went to her concert at FedEx Field, that she had 2 concerts there, and perhaps is married to a famous rapper. You see where I'm going with all of this. And so
I see, and you're right. And I think every artist should do this now. Now every artist is not going to be able to give them all $100,000, but the appreciation, I think, would be there with any kind of bonus, because those people do work hard, and living on a tour and on a road on the bus, it's not as glamorous as people think it is. So I think every artist should do this. And I think you're right, because that artist you're talking about could do $100,000 for everybody as well.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And what a great time of the year to do it as well. We're talking about the holiday season. Literally, I mean, $100,000, that can change someone's life. And so kudos going out to Taylor Swift. You are awesome for doing that. Now, if only perhaps they could take note here, and maybe, you know, you and I, Lindsay, and
Fox 5 DC, what? Excuse me.
All right. Always enjoy chatting with you. Hey, you got anything coming up?
I am going to be out in your area next week, so that's all I have for right now until next year. Then I can tell you some certain things.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can get you in studio for Celebrity Dish Live. Perhaps we can make that happen right here on the Live Zone. Hey, Lindsay, I know you got to run, but when you run, make sure you keep on watching, because coming up next, I don't know if you heard, but the Guinness World Record was set here over the weekend with regard to a number of couples kissing at one time. Can you believe it? Oh, it really happened.
I can't believe that. It's so sweet. I love this.
Yeah. Sherelle Duncan took part in it, and from the Good Morning Show. She'll join us with some of the organizers next, right here on the Live Zone. We'll be right back. Now that's what you call a kiss, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you've seen it right there live on your TV screen, but don't let me tell it. We have the two organizers behind it all. I'm talking about the historic first ever downtown DC and holiday season DC Business Improvement District. Try saying that fast 3 times. I'm talking about the National Kiss Under the National Mistletoe, where the Guinness World Record was set. Hey. Joining us to tell us all about it, Sherelle Duncan. You get a chance to hear her each and every morning on WPGC 95.5. And my man, Jaron Price, President and CEO of Downtown DC Business Improvement District. Man, I practiced your name 3 times. I think I get it right before
it's
I
all
introduce
got
you.
the call word.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
So I got to tell you, I was at home, and then I stalk Sherelle, and I'm looking, I'm like, am I seeing this correctly? Did I just see the Guinness World Record set? And that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
As over 1,000 people smooched under the mistletoe.
Yes.
We had 1,435 couples under the mistletoe, holding a kiss 7 seconds long in the heart of downtown DC. Sherelle was like pure love out there.
It was so good, Guy. Guy, you reported on this actually on Friday, and it was just amazing. It was so much love and joy, and people were actually excited to kiss their husbands that they've been married to for 40 years.
Now that's a problem, right?
That's a whole other segment right there. Right?
Yeah.
So, but if I can recall, Saturday, okay, today is cold, but Saturday was cold as well. And the mere fact that people showed up in droves to set this record, I got to tell you, I'm surprised but not surprised.
Yes, people are excited to kiss. I didn't know how, I didn't realize how excited people are to kiss, but Jaron is the man behind it all. He set the tone when he proposed to his then girlfriend under a small mistletoe and called it a national mistletoe. Fast forward to 14 years later, you have 1,435 people under a 10-foot mistletoe excited to kiss because of his love gesture to his then girlfriend. Isn't that crazy?
And I gotta tell you, my wife, we're going 13 years married on December 22nd, got that right.
Yes.
She was there with me. We got to partake in that moment together, and honestly, probably the something I will never forget. It was like a dream come true.
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing, you got a kitchen pass for life, my
Listen, you know that's right.
So at what point did you know? Because I'm thinking, if I happen to be behind all of this, I show up, I'm like, maybe it's going to happen, maybe not. At what point did you know?
Sure, I've been saying, I was like nervous. You throw a party, it's like, anybody going to show up? You're kind of watching and waiting. By about 1:30 p.m., there was a line. By 2 p.m., that line was wrapped around a corner. So I was like, sure, we're going to hit this record.
Yeah, and we were supposed to wait to kiss, but it was so many people there. The Guinness guy was like, let's do it now.
You gotta do it.
It's over 3,000 people out there just staring at us. Start kissing. It was so awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I'm curious, at what point as you're kissing are you saying, okay, we beat the record, we need to stop kissing? Because I heard a lot of you all were still kissing.
Right.
Black and I were still kissing.
Y'all broke the record twice.
I know. We were kissing for like 14 seconds, and they were like, hey, we got to give you the mic. I'm like, oh, wait. And I had lipstick smudged all over my face. Jaron's wife was trying to help me.
That's real. That's a real true story.
Yes.
It's funny, Guy, people don't know this, but the Guinness World Records team, they have really strict guidelines.
Yes.
So, everything was done, by the book. You had to have one designated entrance. The entire area was designated as a kiss zone, and you could not go in and out. When people came in, they had to get a badge. I actually brought, so you can see what that looked like. Each couple got a badge. It said you're an official participant. You had to have the badge on. Everyone had to have a little piece of mistletoe they held above their heads, and the kiss had to be held for 7 seconds. And there were literally Guinness Records adjudicators walking around monitoring, and they were disqualifying people who did not do it. So
if your lips
it was legitimate.
moved, if you did not have your lips on the other person, you're done.
Wow.
That's right. That's right. It was intense.
It was good.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you brought the official certificate, right?
Well, we weren't coming empty-handed. Wasn't that right, Cheryl? We said we're not coming here empty-handed. Guy, come on, we got to show you this. Bam! Look at this, DC. We are the official world record holders for the most couples kissing under a mistletoe.
Yeah.
Man, so St. Louis, Missouri.
Eat your heart.
Eat your heart out. They held the record for years at 480 couples.
Yeah.
DC said we got that times 3, 1,435 couples. We brought the title home right here in the nation's capital. DC is love.
It was
So you know what happens now when you become top dog.
Oh, you
They
already
coming
know.
for
They're
us.
coming
You
for
already
you.
know. I've heard some whispers. I heard
Let's
some
go.
whispers from other
We
cities.
ready.
We want it. Bring the smoke. We're going
We
to get y'all
taking
every year.
5,000 couples next year. Mark my words.
So can we say that yet again? We'll try to break it next year.
You know,
Yes,
we'll see.
I
We'll
think
see.
so.
Stay tuned. We're going to have
Yeah.
more information. I will tell you, you might even hear before that. One of the things we got the most feedback on is this thing has gone viral on social media with 2 million views on certain posts. And a lot of folks are saying, I would have gone, but I didn't have nobody. Like, I need some love. We might do a singles
We gotta
mixer
build
before.
up.
Yeah, we gotta get to that
Speed date.
5,000. Maybe some
Speed
speed
date.
dating.
Bring your test results before you do so,
Yes.
by the way. That's key.
Exactly.
Congratulations, guys. This is just, it's truly a monumental feat. And one of the things, Sherelle, that you did, and I absolutely loved it, is that you did the heart shape thing.
Yes.
And so, you know,
Yes.
as I have seen time and time again on social media, on USA Today, the Washington Post, it's the hand gesture. So yes, it was all about the kiss, but you inspired that.
I told him, I said on the mic, I said, y'all, everybody, when you hear me say throw your hearts up because that photo is going to go viral. I said it on the mic.
Yes. Wow.
I said it's going to go viral. Whenever you see me throw my hearts up, I don't care if we're in the middle of dancing, throw your hearts up. And there was a lot of couples with the lady here and the man here doing the heart, and it actually went viral. Everybody that has reported it is using that photo.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, we're going to go viral, so put your hearts up.
You called it.
I
You literally
did.
called it.
I have one bone to pick, and that is hailing from Virginia. You know, we're the state known to be lovers.
I knew it was coming.
I knew that was coming.
I knew it was coming, guys.
Well, I guess
Listen,
it's fair
I'm
to
sorry.
say that DC now takes the cake.
I think we
We
got
do.
it. You're going to change the signs. All the signs got to change now. DC is for
And then we're
lovers
going to
too.
have the heart.
Yet again, they set the record, not just any record, the Guinness World Record for the National Kiss under the National Mistletoe. It was truly amazing, truly one of a kind, and you only could see it in the nation's capital. And hopefully we'll get a chance to repeat it again next year.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Guys, congratulations. Thank y'all so much. This was just really awesome. I had to get this interview. It was all things kissing, and we kissed it off in a major way. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you, guys.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Let's talk about caring, shall we? Because caring means having a connection with others and being concerned for their well-being. It could be expressed in so many ways, from, let's say, helping an elderly person cross the street to help fighting a house fire. Which leads me to this. Some of the most caring cities in America. Well, right there, that happens to be, we care about kissing. And so, as we do that, I want to bring in Chip Lupo from Wallet Hub. Hey, Chip, real quick before we talk about the most caring cities in America, you saw the B-roll that we just put up there, and that happens to be, we now have the title, sir, for the most people to kiss at the same time. I hope you all will do a Wallet Hub study on that.
was about to say I will pitch that to my editors. That sounds like a winner.
Absolutely love it. And we absolutely love caring as well. 'Tis the season to give, 'tis the season to care. And it's the best time for you all to have conducted this study on the top caring cities in America. So do tell, what did we discover?
Well, what we found, Guy, what we did is that we evaluated 180 U.S. cities now across three key dimensions: caring for the community, caring for the vulnerable, caring in the workforce. And from there, we applied 38 metrics, and those range from everything from the share of sheltered homeless people, volunteering hours per capita, share of income donated to charity, those types of things. And now, as far as Washington, D.C. goes, above average, not 41st out of 182. Again, not bad. Yeah, so I found that to be now again, Washington, D.C. is the cradle of government, and of course, government theoretically is all about caring. So I think in some cases that does apply, because there is a high share of residents who fundraise or sell items to raise money. Above average numbers of folks who collect and distribute clothes or food or clothing for the needy, and very high in online giving per capita.
Yeah. All right. So, in other words, DC, we could do better. And if you're not going to say it, Chip, I will. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, there's some safety issues there. There's still a high violent crime rate, property crime rate, driving fatalities per capita, a little about average at best. So, in a lot of cases, people tend or maybe reluctant to go out of their homes to engage in community type fundraising or volunteer work just for safety reasons.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the top three, because and let's count it down from 3 to 1, because one quite honestly surprised me, and well, I'll let you tell it. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, in order, the bottom up, it's Scottsdale, Arizona, excuse me, Boston, Massachusetts, and Virginia Beach, Virginia at number 1.
Wow. And so we call that the 757 here, obviously making reference to the area code in Virginia Beach. But so, I mean, I know you touched on the criteria, and so, I mean, I guess they just rate very high within all that you made mention of.
Right. Now, in the case of Virginia,
I think we might have lost Chip. Chip, did we lose you? All right. Well, we care about his Wi-Fi connection, but apparently it does not care about us. Yet again, we're making reference to the cities that happen to care the most. The top 3: Scottsdale, Arizona. Number 2, Boston. Which, yet again, producer Joey, go ahead and pull yourself up. It's just really amazing to me that Boston. Oh, there we go, Chip. We got you back.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, cool. Hey, it happens. Hey, believe you me, you're not the first one. It's happened all day long. We call it the Monday Gremlins. And so I was just telling producer Joey that with regard to Boston, out of all places, I mean, I've been there before. I wouldn't, no slight, but I wouldn't say they're the kindest and most caring people in the world.
I don't believe you. I will be less diplomatic there. What is the proof?
That surprised me, because I don't recall any acts of charity anytime that I've been into Boston. But I mean, it also that encompasses things like caring for the environment and maintaining parks and recreation. And they are very active in terms of like sheltering for homeless and making sure its population is insured too. That's a key point. And of course, it does have a very high share of residents who work in caring type professions such as social work, teaching, first responders, and medicine. So in that respect, I think that does Boston well. Because now on an individual basis, I don't know, that to me, that the jury's still out on that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, yet again, high five going out to Scottsdale, which, by the way, I just attended a wedding there. A beautiful city and great folks there. Boston, still surprised, but Virginia Beach taking numero uno.
Now, Scottsdale being a predominantly retirement type area, you do have residents there with maybe a little bit more disposable income, a little bit more time on their hands, so they're able to be a little bit more charitable, and also for the social aspect of going out and doing charitable events and raising money for good causes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can tell you, Chip, the countdown is on. And what am I making reference to? I'm talking about the countdown to the New Year Eve celebration. And in this case, we're talking the top cities to celebrate New Year's Eve. And you all broke it down in a major way. I'm going to ask about D.C., but I'll go ahead and let you tell it with regard to the criteria. What was it based upon?
Well, we base it on three things: entertainment and food, costs, safety, and accessibility. Then from there, 26 metrics: legality of fireworks, nightlight options, food affordability, and quite importantly, the forecasted precipitation for December 31st, New Year's Eve. In Washington, D.C., very well out of 100, 8th overall. As you might expect, there's plenty to do in D.C. Fireworks are illegal in Washington, D.C., but they do have some of the best fireworks displays in terms of duration. So you have that. Folks are not going to be setting off fireworks in their own yards. High-rated restaurants, an abundance of beer and wine and spirit shops, and, of course, plenty of nightlife there.
Yeah.
But as you would expect, the costs. High costs for those alcoholic beverages, restaurant tabs are high, and grooming costs, which means beauty salon, haircuts, people want to get, beautify themselves for the big day, and those costs are pretty high.
Yeah, I call it so fresh and so clean, as they say, Chip.
There you go.
So the top three happen to be number 3, New York City, which I've done that before. I was in my 20s when I did it, and I'll tell you what, Chip, I'll never do it again. I mean, you just stand there at Times Square. It's freezing. Don't tell anybody, but I saw certain people, let's say, using the restroom, if you will, standing right there with a bottle in hand, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Not my thing, but it's still cool to perhaps experience one time.
Right. Now, I've talked to folks that live in New York, and they tell you there's a world of difference pre and post 9/11 in terms of the celebrations. The security is just ramped up so tight, and you have such a smaller area in which to congregate for New Year's Eve. So those are always concerns, too.
Yeah. Number 2 being Las Vegas, which I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever celebrated New Year's there, but I mean, hey, it's always a great time in Vegas.
Always plenty to do in Las Vegas. I'm sure, and they have a tremendous fireworks show. And of course, at number 1, Orlando, Florida, you've got the Disney theme and fireworks displays. It's pretty affordable, at least from a New Year's Eve standpoint. Lots of things to do.
Yeah.
But God, what I want to focus on also, and I found this kind of odd, so I kind of, at number 4 and number 5, Seattle and Los Angeles. Two West Coast cities in the top 5, and I always wondered. Now, I was very, very small when we lived in LA, so I didn't really have much to gauge it by. But how do folks in the West Coast celebrate New Year's?
Meaning, why? Because we celebrated on the East Coast first, or is that what you're making reference to? Or?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Do they start throwing their parties at 9 p.m.?
That's a good point. Yeah. Wow.
But I found there's kind of a mixed bag. Some folks, they do somehow manage to tune into the big ball drop, and at 9 o'clock sharp, they're ringing in New Year's Eve. But other folks wait till midnight local time.
Yeah.
So to each his own, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be celebrating New Year's Eve at 3 a.m. Eastern time. At 12:01, lights out.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit different for those of us who, let's say, like to take a shot anytime there's a celebration. And so if I could take a shot at 9 o'clock and then again at midnight, I'm all, and I don't have to work the next day, sign me up.
There you go.
All right. Chip Lupo with All Things Wallet Hub joining us on the Live Zone. Chip, I really enjoyed this as always. Folks that want to find out more information, obviously, you can check out the report on Wallet Hub. We'll talk to you soon, Chip.
Yes, sir.
All right, folks. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back. Well, as millions of Americans turn to GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, the big question is how to use it safely and how to avoid the growing number of unregulated, dangerous programs on the market. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Miss Atara Davidson. She's a board-certified nurse practitioner and the CEO and founder of Nubo Wellness, a leading telehealth practice guiding patients through GLP-1 treatment with proper nutrition. She now joins us right here on the Live Zone. Atara, always good to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, I have a lot of questions, but guess what? I'm probably not alone. You have really exploded in popularity. Why? Because so many folks are talking about GLP-1s, and I'm hoping for those that are still trying to wrap their head around it, that you could explain and expand the benefits and, let's say, perhaps the non-benefits of utilizing this.
Yeah, so we prescribe GLP-1 medication for weight loss, and it has been extremely popular lately. Patients have tried all sorts of diets. We have patients coming to us who have tried every diet under the sun, and they've lost hope. And they're coming to us now, and these medications work. So we've definitely had a lot of popularity with these medications lately.
Yeah, but wait, there's more, as they say. And correct me if I'm wrong, but before you have stated that this is really only one piece of the puzzle, meaning there's so much more. This cannot only be the focus.
Correct. So we prescribe the GLP-1 medications for weight loss. And the biggest misconception we see is that these medications are magic, that they're going to take a shot and the pounds just come off and disappear permanently. But in reality, if you don't address the underlying issues and metabolic health, then patients will regain the weight once the medication is stopped. So that's why it's super important to do lifestyle changes as part of a comprehensive plan, nutrition counseling, weight training, because you want these results to last once they stop the medication.
And it makes so much sense. And yet again, I want to focus on what you do, and that is you provide it with regard to safety, an understanding in knowing that one will be able to leave the premises knowing that he or she is A-OK. That's not the case, though. We see time and time again with a number of other unsafe clinics that are really using cheap injections with no oversight.
Correct. It's a little bit scary out there. Patients should definitely be wary of clinics selling over-the-counter medication or research medication without proper medical evaluation. Patients should definitely be seeking a licensed practitioner, having an appropriate medical evaluation, and having an ongoing care plan. That's really very important.
All right, so we know that Nubo Wellness is all things, let's just say safety, all things thorough. But yet again, I can't tell you how many quick fix cultures surrounding the GLP-1s I've seen, the shops, if you will. I want to make sure we stress to our viewers the importance of not utilizing that, of staying away from that.
Yeah, so it's super important to make lifestyle changes as part of a comprehensive care plan. So GLP-1 medications are incredible, but ideally we want patients to use these medications as a tool to help them in a diet, lifestyle changes, get into a routine, healthy eating habits, so that once they do start coming off the medication, it'll be that much easier to maintain their weight. And that's what we do. We help patients build those skills that they need to maintain a healthier lifestyle long term.
Yeah, well, you work with patients from Maine all the way down to Florida. And with that being said, I'm curious, what are some of the trends specifically for Florida for me? I'm really curious that you're seeing along the East Coast.
So we definitely see a lot of patients coming to us who just, want to be a size 0 or fit into a certain outfit. So these medications might not be for them. But overall, I do believe that having excess weight on you, even if it's just 20 pounds, is such a big risk factor for so many diseases that taking weight loss medication, generally the benefits far outweigh the risk in most cases.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of want to say sign me up, but yet again, I know folks are just like me and they're probably still somewhat hesitant. Why? Because What happens when I stop taking the medication? Will I see that weight gain yet again?
So we start planning for that from day one, and that's why our program does include the nutrition counseling and the weight training. We want patients to, again, develop healthy eating habits, get into a routine, lifestyle changes now while they're on the medication, and it's easier to make those choices so that once they do come off, it'll be that much easier to maintain their weight. But these medications are studied and safe to take long term. It's kind of like if somebody's taking a blood pressure medication or cholesterol medication, once their levels normalize, they don't just all of a sudden come off the medication. So it's the same thing with obesity medication, with the GLP-1s. They don't just come off once they reach their goal weight for many patients. But some people do want to come off the medication, and that's totally fine. And we do have a maintenance program where we start decreasing their dose and also increasing the time in between injections. So they're taking it less frequently. But again, diet's going to be your number one most important thing during maintenance.
The key word perhaps is lifestyle. It's all about changing your lifestyle
100%.
overall. And as we wrap up, I would be remiss if I did not ask about the emotional and perhaps the psychological aspect of all of this. A lot of folks are concerned that may very well be the case.
Yeah, so again, fear of failure is a big one. We have patients who come to us who have been overweight their entire lives. They've tried every diet, nothing worked or stuck, but these medications work. We've had patients lose over 100 pounds and have changed their lives with these medications.
Absolutely love it, and absolutely love what you do. Yet again, we have been speaking with Tara Davidson, a board-certified nurse practitioner and the CEO and founder of Nubu Wellness. Always good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, just like that, back here at the Fox 5 Live Zone, I would say, look what the Grinch dragged in. But prior to Santa actually wearing red, guess what color he wore?
Green. Okay.
Brittany now joining us for our Monday Talkers right here on the Live Zone.
Hi,
Hello,
guys.
friend.
I like to call it money green, okay?
Oh,
Not
there you
Grinch
go.
green, money green. But that's an interesting little fun fact. Okay,
Yeah.
Santa, we didn't know
And guess
that.
who changed it? Guess who put him in red?
Mrs. Claus.
Coca-Cola.
Oh, I was
'cause
going
you
to
know
say
it's
ladies
like a
know
red
best,
day.
but okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. I think I like Santa in red versus green anyway,
I think so,
that
too.
works out. Yes.
Let's talk about some of the talkers. In this case, this happens to be some of the stories that you, my friends, are discussing at home. So check this out, Brittany. A new study found that having a pet around while having a romantic partner makes people actually happier. According to the data, the mere presence of a pet increases visible signs of positive emotions like smiling and laughing. And when it comes to romantic relationships, well, the effects reportedly lasts longer. Researchers say the findings can encourage people to spend more time together in the presence of their pets. So what are you thinking about this?
Aw, who doesn't love a little fur baby? But then when you said last longer, I'm like, so what happens when they break up?
Oh, yeah.
That's always the answers right there, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, that's so, a couple coming together. Obviously, they don't want to have kids yet or so forth. I think it's like the first step to seeing, like, can we cohabitate and can we raise, whether it's a dog or a fur baby or a kid, together, right? Literally.
Yeah.
I think that, that makes
Furby.
sense. A little fur baby, yes.
So I agree as
dog
well.
mom and dog dad.
I dated someone, and she had a little dog.
Okay.
And yeah, I was thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to walk the dog. So guess what?
Obviously.
We're taking a walk together.
And
So
you're
yeah,
walking and
then-
talking and
yeah.
so forth. Yeah, but I'm still thinking about what happens when you break up.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
not a good part.
Well, luckily your girl, who's now your ex, she bought the dog and you didn't buy the dog for her.
Oh gosh! All right, let's move on. All right,
That ended quick.
Real quick in both ways. So in this case, we're talking about this guy, George Clooney, actor extraordinaire. Apparently, he has now told his wife, hey, you know what, babe? From here on out, any movie I do and I have a co-star, no more kissing scenes. Believe it or not, he
That's a
is
good
now
husband.
in his mid-60s, and, well, throughout his entire career, when having a kissing scene, he's never objected to it. However, this time around, he says, no more smooches with the Cloonster.
I love this. I love Amal and George Clooney. I think they're such a cute couple. I mean, he's been acting, but like 5 decades.
Yeah.
So I feel like at that point in your career, you can make decisions like that for sure. I wonder, like, what arguments were happening behind the scene though
That's
that
what I'm
made
trying to
him
figure out.
get to that point, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, babe. That looked a little too real last time on camera. I'm not feeling that. It's acting, babe. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then, I mean, he is a sex symbol, although
Yes.
still in his mid-60s.
I mean, sexiest man alive. He still looks great for sure. But that is like the ultimate way to show respect for your marriage and
Yeah.
for your wife. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
here
also
for it.
think he is so rich and so wealthy.
Yes,
He doesn't have to.
and he doesn't really have to act anymore
Yeah,
either if he doesn't
I'm
want
good.
to. So yeah, I like that. You know, I mean, I want to get to that point where I can pick the roles I want to do. Shoot.
All right, producer Joey with our last talker.
You guys ever been to a wedding?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hopefully not this one. One guest went to Reddit and said that she attended a wedding that was 7 hours with no dinner.
Wow.
Or booze?
No, only hors d'oeuvres. Someone commented, nothing I hate more than a black tie dress code when they're not putting on a black tie event. And I have to agree with that.
Wow. He's like, and mic drop. I mean, that
And
is
that-
a mic drop. First of all, 7-hour wedding, no booze, only hors d'oeuvres, no
gosh.
food.
Yeah.
I mean, who is the host?
Yeah,
What is going on
not
here?
me. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, that check
literally.
would have to be really high in order for me to have stayed. So, yeah, I mean, it's just unfair. So the wedding for me, it's for two folks, right?
Right.
The bride
And the groom.
and the guests.
Oh, well, this is true.
The groom,
This
like,
is true.
we're just like, hey, man,
The
we're
groom's
here.
like, I'm happy to be
yeah,
here.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to be
Groom's not
here.
even
She's
awake.
happy.
I can't lie though. You know that story that was like, would you pay to go to, to contribute to the wedding? I would pay to contribute just to make sure that my stomach is full by the end of the
Yeah.
night for something like this. Because that is just crazy. Hors d'oeuvres only?
So for 7 hours, like, how many times can you say I do? Like,
Thank
I
you.
host weddings for a living as well. And so, like, how many times can you do the first dance?
Thank
I mean,
you.
what are
the
they doing?
cha-cha slide, the cupid shuffle. I mean, you're wearing them to hunger. The least you can do is feed them, literally.
Oh, gosh. So the question
let
is...
me tell you something. When I get married one day, I promise that won't happen, guys. Okay? We will have tons of food, tons of booze,
Yeah.
and even more food for after the dancing.
Absolutely.
That's the way you do it.
Can I host it?
You know what? I love that.
Okay.
You should, yes.
Here we go.
How could you not? Yes. I need you to
You
get
saw
your
it right
license so
here.
you can officiate me too.
Well, that's a different story. Let's see if she changes her mind when I tell her my price tag. Brittany joining us right here on the live zone. Hey, you're on The Real coming up, or The Take rather.
Yes, the take is very real, so that is true. Yes, I'm on the take it too today. For sure. You know, we were just talking about this. DC is the Grinchiest city.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Out of all the cities in the country, we are the least holiday-ish when it comes to the Christmas season. So
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that and some more.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. That's coming up at 2 o'clock right
Yes.
here on Fox 5. I appreciate you, man. This was fun, as always.
Always.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, continuing to follow our top story of the day. Brian Walsh, the man accused of murdering and dismembering his wife, Anna Walsh, a realtor based right here in the nation's capital, found guilty of first-degree murder. Sentencing now set for December the 17th. That's this Wednesday at 9 a.m. Earlier, I got a chance to talk with Eric Faddis, attorney extraordinaire, about Mr. Walsh being found guilty of murder.
I mean, that is a relatively brief deliberation, especially for a multi-week first-degree murder trial. But that being said, the defense did not have many outs, and they didn't put on any witnesses. And so the jury was kind of left with the prosecution's case and deciding whether it met that threshold. They decided promptly that it had.
Some of the interesting facts surrounding on this case happen to be that he did state that he did, let's say, remove her body, if you will. But he said, hey, I was not in any way, form, or fashion involved with regard to her murder. The jury saw it otherwise. Anything in particular stand out to you as to why they decided to find him guilty of first-degree murder?
Well, in that kind of a set of circumstances, you as defense, you want to give the jury some alternative explanation. Okay, if you didn't do this, what could possibly have happened? My understanding is they didn't call an expert witness to talk about this alleged sudden death explanation for the decedent. And on top of that, they just kind of ran out of outs. There was the motive there. There was the other circumstances, testimony from witnesses, all of which turned out to be damning for Brian Walsh.
So, Eric, you have done this time and time again, and that is oversee trials within the courtroom. Obviously, I am no lawyer to an extent, but I must say, observing this and throughout the past several days, watching the trial unfold, his behavior was somewhat coy. Did you see that as well? And if so, perhaps did that play any role at all with regard to why the jury decided to find him guilty?
Well, I saw similar observations. And look, the jury is going to be laser focused on that defendant and his demeanor. That might not be actual evidence. It might not be a statutory consideration for the jury, but they're human beings in there. They want to see how he's reacting to certain accusations, to different evidence that arises. And here, when he's smiling and sort of carrying on in a way that is inconsistent, perhaps, with someone who's been wrongly accused of murder, I think the jury probably considered that when deciding what the ultimate determination should be, and it was against Brian Walsh.
Yet again, Brian Walsh found guilty of first-degree murder, killing his wife, Anna Walsh. We should make mention that she happened to be a realtor based right here in the nation's capital. So we now know sentencing set for Wednesday morning. What happens? How will that play out? Because it's to my understanding as well, we will also hear testimony from witnesses. Is that correct?
We could, typically judges give the victim's family an opportunity to address the court, to say how this event has affected their lives. And so would not be surprised to have some witnesses come up and discuss that. That being said, I think the ultimate sentence is really going to be a foregone conclusion. I think it's going to be life without the possibility of parole. He has these additional aggravating factors of being deceptive with police and also sort of butchering up the body at the end. And so really things are looking rather grim for Brian Walsh.
So, all right, there you have it. Yet again, we were speaking with Eric Faddis, attorney extraordinaire, earlier today. Brian Walsh found guilty of first-degree murder, sentencing now set for this upcoming Wednesday. Got about a minute left, and producer Joey now joining us with your top takeaway for today.
My top takeaway, just as I suspected, the last day the Commanders and Wizards won on the same day. The 2022 World Cup kicked off in Qatar. That's how long it's been. November 20th, 2022. It's been a while. Has it been a while?
Yeah, that's, and so you think about what happened last season with all the victories, all the wins the Commanders had, and but then you think about the Wizards season. They only won, I think 13, 14 games last season, if even that?
It's like lightning striking another piece of lightning at the same time. That's how rare it is.
Typically when the Commanders win in preseason, you know what we all say as fans. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we are.
Well, in this case, that's not happening this year, but at least we can say both the Wizards and Commanders winning on the same day. Hey, that just about does it for us. On behalf of producer Joey, I'm Guy Lambert. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget the latest on Brian Walsh found guilty of first-degree murder coming up throughout the afternoon right here on Fox 5. The Take right now.